I thought I was just starting a normal new job. I never imagined I'd meet someone who didn't even feel human. It was my first day at this mid-sized warehouse job. Basic stuff: pack, ship, stock. The kind of work where you keep your head down and clock in and out without much thought. My boss gave me a quick tour, and that's when I first saw her. Her name was Clara, or at least that's what everyone called her. She stood in the back corner, barely moving, as if she was trying to blend into the shelves. Pale skin, dark hair tucked behind her ears, and eyes so dark they almost looked black. She didn't smile, didn't nod, didn't acknowledge me at all. I figured maybe she was just shy. Later that morning, I got assigned to work with her. She didn't say a word when I introduced myself. Instead, she just stared, not angrily, not confused, just blank. I laughed it off, trying to break the ice, but she didn't laugh with me. Not even a smirk. It was like trying to talk to a mannequin. Throughout the day, strange things kept happening around her. Items would fall off from shelves with no explanation. Lights would flicker when she walked by. Once, I swear I felt the air get colder just standing next to her. But nobody else seemed to notice. They treated her like she was invisible, or maybe like they were too scared to look directly at her. Around noon, when we took our lunch break, I tried again. "Hey Clara," I said. "Do you want to sit with us?" She finally turned to look at me fully, and for a moment, I thought I saw something in her eyes, like a flash of light, not from the room, but from inside her. She didn't speak. She just smiled, and something about that smile made my stomach twist. I wish I'd taken that as a sign to stay away. That smile, it didn't leave my mind all afternoon. It felt wrong, like it wasn't meant for a person, like it belonged to something else. After lunch, I found myself watching Clara from across the warehouse. Not out of curiosity, out of pure, buzzing instinct. Every time I glanced up, she was already staring back, never blinking, always smiling now. At one point, I dropped a small box cutter and it slid across the concrete floor toward her. Without breaking eye contact, she bent down and picked it up, but the way she moved, stiff, almost glitching for a second, it made the hairs on my arms stand straight up. She handed it back to me, her fingers brushing mine, and her skin was ice cold. I muttered a thanks and turned away quickly. From then on, no matter where I went, I felt her, like a shadow clinging too close. When I stocked shelves, she stood at the end of the aisle, just watching. When I clocked out at the end of the day, I spotted her standing by the exit doors, not leaving, not talking, just smiling that same empty, skin-crawling smile. Driving home that evening, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone in my car. Every time I checked the rearview mirror, I expected to see her sitting in the back seat, staring at me through the reflection. When I finally pulled into my driveway, I sat in the car for a long time, just breathing, just convincing myself I was imagining everything. I thought I'd left the weirdness behind at work. I was wrong. That night, things got worse. When I got home that night, I locked every door without thinking twice. Somehow, the silence of my own house didn't feel safe anymore. It felt watched. I tried to sleep, but every creak of the floorboards, every shifting shadow outside the window made my heart jump. Around 2 a.m., just as I was starting to drift off, I heard it, 3 soft, deliberate knocks at my front door. I froze in bed. No one should have been there at that hour. I stayed still, holding my breath, waiting for it to go away. But then, it knocked again. This time harder, more urgent. I crept to the living room, peeking out through the peephole. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the empty porch, dimly lit by the streetlight. But then, movement. At the very edge of the light, half hidden by the shadows, there she was. Clara, still, silent, staring directly at my door, smiling. I backed away from the door so fast I nearly tripped over my own feet. I didn't know what to do. Call the police? Pretend I wasn't home? Every instinct screamed at me to stay hidden. Suddenly, my phone lit up on the kitchen counter. A text message from an unknown number. It read, "Let me in. I know you see me." My hands were shaking. I didn't reply. I didn't move. I just sat there, heart pounding so loud I was sure she could hear it through the walls. Minutes passed, maybe an hour. When I finally worked up the nerve to look outside again, she was gone. But deep down I knew this wasn't over. The next morning, I convinced myself it had to be a nightmare. Sleep deprivation, stress, anything but what it really felt like, that something had followed me home. I went back to work, hoping to find some normalcy, but the warehouse felt different now. Colder, darker, and Clara? She wasn't there. No one even mentioned her. It was like she never existed. During break, I pulled one of my co-workers aside. A guy named Mike, been there for years. "Hey," I asked casually, "what's Clara's deal? She always this weird?" Mike looked confused. "Clara," he repeated. "We don't have a Clara working here." I laughed at first, thinking he was messing with me. But when I pressed him, he got serious. "Dude, I'm not joking. I don't know any Clara. Never have." A cold sweat broke out across my back. Either everyone was lying, or something way worse was happening. When I got home later, I found muddy footprints leading from my front door into the kitchen. They were small, barefoot, like a child's, but stretched out oddly long. I searched the whole house, every closet, every corner, but found nothing. Yet no matter where I went, I had that feeling again. The heavy, suffocating presence. The sensation of being watched. That night, when I finally climbed into bed, I caught a glimpse of my window and nearly screamed. Pressed against the glass, from the outside, was Clara's face. Still smiling, still staring, still waiting. My heart stopped. Clara's face was right there, pressed against the glass, too close, too wrong. But when I blinked, she was gone, like mist dissolving into the night. I didn't sleep after that. I sat awake, every light in the house on, clutching a kitchen knife like it would somehow help. Hours crawled by. The sun finally rose, but daylight didn't make me feel any safer. I tried to act normal, went to work, forced myself through the day, but the feeling of her being near, just beyond the edges of what I could see, never left. That night, the real terror began. I woke up to the sound of my bedroom door, slowly creaking open. I never sleep with it open. I didn't even remember leaving it unlocked. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. In the dark, a silhouette stood in the doorway. Small, still, smiling. Clara. She didn't walk toward me. She glided. Silent, unnatural. Like the ground didn't even exist for her. I shut my eyes, praying, begging that when I opened them, she'd be gone. But when I opened them, she was right next to my bed, leaning over me, smiling wider now, impossibly wide. Her eyes were just endless black. She whispered something, voice like a gust of wind scraping down my spine. "You saw me. Now you're mine." Everything after that is a blur. A storm of fear and screams trapped in my own mind. I don't remember passing out, but I woke up hours later, cold, shaking, the room empty again. I moved out the next day, left everything behind. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet and still, I still see her. Reflected in windows, in mirrors, watching, waiting, smiling. Because once you see her, she never really leaves. If you still feel watched, you're not alone. Subscribe for more true horror.